This is Digital Marketing Asia, covering everything digital in Asia. Welcome back to Digital Marketing Asia. My name is Anthony Konduris, and in episode 9 we're covering mobile applications and user adoption. The outline for this program is looking at the importance of research, understanding what the value proposition will be for the application, marketing the application, so looking at where we want to put it out there. Lots of applications that don't actually drive downloads, and trying to achieve at least 5,000 downloads per month. Okay, so let's look at the importance of research. Yep, that's right, it's really crowded. So understanding what is our value proposition and how we're going to stand out is really important. So Firestarter, on behalf of our clients, will do some research to try to figure out what is it that value proposition ought to be. So part of it is desktop research, looking at blogs, forums, user reviews within the application or the App Store itself, and trying to understand, is there a weakness? Is there really a space to build another clock? And if we are going to build another clock, can we build one that's better, that users are more likely to download and give up the one which they're currently going for? Some examples of value propositions you can find here. So I think what's also important to understand is, what is the model that we're using? Are we going to build something which is a location-based app like Foursquare, which is really about where am I right now and then how is that relative to my experience? Or are we going to build a first-person shooter, which, for example, like this Augmented Wanted Dead or Alive? Now what's interesting about both of these is that although they are a first-person shooter and one is a location-based app, they add a level of ingenuity or creativity that makes it different. So the first-person shooter, you're actually looking and shooting using a live camera and looking through in real time what you can see. Very interesting, a different kind of first-person shooter. It's still a first-person shooter, just done differently, which makes it unique. Here's an example of an application that is A, useful for users, but B, also useful for corporates. So this is a clock which you can program to count down to when you're leaving. A little alarm will set off, remind you to leave, and during the day as you're looking at the clock, it serves these lovely beers, dripping wet, looking very nice, and hopefully this encourages you then to buy product before you go home so you can have it delivered to you. Part of also the research is just looking at keyword research. Is there opportunities looking at the psychographics of people to... Also part of the research is online keyword research. Is there something else that we could be including in the app that we can derive from what people are key searching for right now? And here's an example where for an alcohol company we discovered that people key searching kegs of beer are not just looking for bottle or cans. This particular gadget was very easy to put together. We built one for Google. This in fact just pulls together a series of different feeds from different cinemas. Great application for users. So it's not difficult to create useful value propositions that customers want. And of course the ultimate with creating an application is that it's paid for. And this is a great example here. It was done by Rosie Automation. And what I like about this one is that you buy their security products, their alarm systems, their lighting systems, and for another $199 you can download an application which will turn your iPhone into a remote control to control all of these different services that you've bought into. So if you're paying thousands of dollars for their services, dropping another $200 actually is not a big imposition to the customer. Marketing the application. So lots and lots of apps don't get downloads. So sure, we can look at the App Store for you. We will build keywords, tagging, upload a free trial version. That's very useful. We'll even time it perhaps with a release of a device like the iPad. We discovered that lots of times when a device is released, there is a rush of users to the App Store to download applications. Great timing. But really what I'd like to do is emphasize the leveraging existing channels. Offering this to your existing customers who already understand your products and services. Here's a couple of examples here, like the Facebook community, email marketing. My suggestion is choose 3 of the best media, the ones that have the highest levels of traffic or eyeballs, and focus on those and place a position for a call to action to download your application. So here's an example of one where you can use simple small space placement like a email sign-off, which becomes a call to action to download the app. Likewise, offline communications presents some amazing opportunities to download applications. For instance, one which is at an event. Events are great, you have a captive audience, and you also have a desire. For instance, enhancing the visitor's experience by downloading the app. That's an immediate value proposition. So I think we also should canvas what not to do, right? So I think, come on, let's not substitute the desktop. There is lots of content which is already available on the internet. If we're simply going to clog up our application with more stuff that's already available, let's not do that. What the world doesn't need right now is another application that already tells me what's on the internet. Okay, so big warning here. Let's be wary of using digital media to push other digital medium. Are we just simply saying the same thing and putting it in a different cart? Okay, let's look at retention. Great apps get something between, say, 3,000 to 5,000 downloads per month, and that's kind of where you are with a B2C model. So let's understand that these cell phones are highly personal. People are carrying them on their body. So to get on there and stay there, you need to be highly relevant. And really, it's the word of mouth which is going to drive adoption. Okay? Positive user experiences, so that over time you begin with a small number of downloads, but as users talk and the word spreads, you start to see an increase in the number of downloads every month from the App Store. And what is driving this is not marketing. Okay, marketing will help you at the beginning to get the application adopted, but to really build out that positive user experience, you need a great UI. Okay, you need a great value proposition which was defined right at the beginning in the research. And lastly, you need to put some money aside so that you can continue to add new features, so that when it does take off, if users are asking for it for different platforms or asking for new features, you're able to respond to them. You also have some money to put towards scheduling new content which can appear inside your application. Big question and a big issue that our industry is facing right now is serving applications to multiple mobile platforms. It's expensive, okay? It's difficult. So my advice to our customers is focus on one or two platforms, go with those first, and build a case of success that looks at then launching the application into other handsets. So let's, for instance, let's take Singapore and Hong Kong. If we're looking at these two markets, the iOS has the highest overall penetration in the 3G market. We have across the iPhone, the iTouch, and the iPad a total of almost 500,000 units which are out there, which represents about 10% of the market. Now that's really big. What the other aspect to understand about why iPhone makes such great sense in Hong Kong and Singapore is the propensity for these users to download applications. Recent market research suggests that iPhone users download 40 apps, right down to the Blackberry users who only download 14 apps. And this whole argument about the fact that there are more handsets being pushed out there by Nokia right now than iPhone is really not something that we're interested in. iOS users are 10 times more likely to download apps than a Symbian user. So let's look at the package. Fees and timing. So between 3 to 4 weeks, we can create for you an application. We can include the research, which we talked about, which is invaluable to the success of the application. Our guys will look at the full user experience and the flow design. Our art directors will take a look at coming up with an original skin and look and feel for it. We can program it for you, put it up on the Apple Store, and of course integrate the application into important other sort of data feeds that you might have. And lastly, a free and potentially a paid version of the app, if that makes sense. All this we can do for approximately 20,000 Sing, and for another 6,000 Sing we can roll out the same app for you to the Android. Hope that's useful. Join us next month for our following podcast. Thanks very much. My name's Anthony. Look forward to seeing you again. This is Digital Marketing Asia, covering everything digital in Asia.